Most small business owners don't struggle because they lack effort. They struggle because they lack clarity. My name is Adam Diaz, and I've spent nearly 2 decades building, selling, and advising small businesses. This platform exists for one reason: to bring clarity to chaos and insight to confusion. Only what moves your business forward. Here, we talk real strategy, real numbers, and real leadership decisions that actually make your business profitable. If you care about margin and not just the hype, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Margin. Welcome to the Adam Diaz podcast. I'm Adam Diaz, and I'm here with Allyson Rawlings from Rawlings Flooring America.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So we met probably about 2 years ago in a BNI group, networking group, and we weren't really close when we were in the group. That's the funny thing.
I feel like we maybe exchanged about 5 words.
Yeah, which is funny because I feel like we actually have a lot in common. We're both homeschooled, right?
Similar backgrounds.
Similar age.
Yes.
Entrepreneurs, right? Both business owners. So I feel like we had a lot to talk about, but we just never really opened the door until after we both left the group.
Right.
And then we kind of reconnected at a different networking group linked up to us, or link something.
Link up to us.
Link up to us, right.
Yes.
So we reconnected then. It's been fun. Got to have a couple conversations with you, and it's been fun because I'm like, Allyson knows a thing or two about business.
Yeah.
And I like talking about business.
Same.
Yeah, and also the other thing that, maybe we'll get into this at the end, but a little bit of science nerd talk.
Always down for that.
I don't know if we're going to go there or not. I mean, that's not really what this
we'll
podcast.
see how the two worlds coincide.
This podcast is about business and leadership.
Yes.
But if we can have some fun at the end, we'll do it, and maybe Marcos will cut it out. We'll see.
Love it.
So before we get into the theme of the episode, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business and your business history?
Yeah. So I have a flooring and cabinet company, and my family started it back in 2008, and I joined shortly after. As I was 19 years old, started in data entry and kind of worked my way up through the different cycles of the business into sales, business development, all the leadership roles.
Cool.
And now my mom and I, Cindy, we run it together. And it's been quite the adventure over the years, but it's been fun to watch it grow and develop and hone it into really what we want it to be.
It's cool because in entrepreneurship, you have to be able to do a little bit of everything.
You have to wear all the hats.
You have to wear all the hats.
You have to work hard in the warehouse, know how to operate that forklift, and be able to work with the clientele, with your staff, and with every part of it.
So I've owned some businesses where I'm kind of the technician of the business. For example, I'm formally trained in accounting. So I've owned an accounting firm where I was the accountant and I was the business owner. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm a partner in Lexar Homes, where I'm not technically the technician in the sense that I don't build the houses. Right. I'm more of business operations. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to grow the business, help with sales, business development, organizational structure, of course, profitability and accounting and some of those things as well. But I really, I always make the joke, they don't let me touch the tools. And that's probably a good thing.
Either.
Yeah. So that's what was my question for you is like, could you go install a floor or hang cabinets, or are you really more business ops?
Business ops, but I am a wizard at reading install instructions.
Really?
And,
okay.
Understanding the technical side. So if gun to head, I could absolutely go in and do it.
I love that. Yes. I love that.
I'm a researcher. I'm a figure it out girl. So.
Okay.
Yes, I think you have to be in order to run a company.
That's cool. And then I know, just because we've talked before, you had a little bit of experience with some higher end customers down in California, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that part of your life and maybe 1 or 2 things you learned while you were down there?
Yeah, so when I lived in Los Angeles, I ran a custom hardwood shop in Beverly Hills, and that was a really unique experience in that Los Angeles is very different from anywhere else, I think, in the world.
Sure.
It's where all of our favorite films are created, and I like to joke that it's kind of a bubble town. And I thought it was a really wonderful thing because you could experience a whole different side to kind of other places that you may travel to. And what I did learn there is the kind of that vast divide of wealth and luxury. And that was really interesting to be able to experience.
I bet.
Because you get to be around people who want something completely unique and custom to their specific needs. And it's okay what the cost is.
It's like spending as much money on just the floor that other people spend on the entire house in this market.
Yes. Yeah.
So
But I mean, it's art that you could walk on.
that's cool. That's very cool. Well, the main theme of our discussion today is going to kind of be, I would say, emotional health in business. Emotional health in business. And I kind of want to put a focus or emphasis on like how to avoid burnout, or even what to do when you're starting to experience burnout. And I don't really have a big agenda of how we're going to get there. So kind of just opening up the conversation, because,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll kick it off by saying, I've been an entrepreneur since, let me think for a minute. I think since 2011, it would be when I started my first business. I've done other entrepreneurial things before that in my younger years, but 2011 is, I think, when I really got out there. And I would say I experienced some pretty severe burnout, like within the first couple of years. Now, that was public accounting. It's an industry prone to burnout. And then adding the entrepreneurial piece on top of it, I think I learned some interesting lessons. But when was the first time that you really experienced like burnout in business?
First time I experienced it, I was 24 and going through a period of growth and change in life and business. And I think there's different types of burnout. And that burnout was, I think, a lot of uncertainty in life, kind of coming up on that quarter life crisis. Who am I? What
Sure.
am I doing? And that burnout was a huge shift in my life. And I actually quit the family business and I moved to California.
Okay, so that's what got you down there.
Needed a large change of scenery. And the burnout, I think, that I've flirted with now in life has been in pursuit of goals and personal and professional development. And so that's why I think that this topic is really important to bring up and speak about, because there's different levels depending on where we're all at personally and professionally in life. Burnout can happen. You don't have to be running a business to feel burnout. You don't even have to have a job. You could be a stay-at-home parent and feel
Sure.
burnout.
Sure.
And to be able to recognize what are the signs within that, because I think the signs are relatively similar no matter where you're at within your life.
I love that you brought up the idea of burnout signs, because I think a lot of things in life, burnout included, if we can be better about acting proactively, rather than reactively, we're just going to end up so much farther ahead. If we can recognize early signs of burnout and make changes earlier, they're probably small tweaks, rather than having a full, emotional breakdown, mental breakdown. Then you're going to need to make some massive tweaks, not just tweaks,
Quit
changes.
your job, run away to another state.
Hey, yep, that's exactly right. So let's make sure before we get to the end of this, what are the signs? In fact, let's start with that.
Yeah.
What would you say are like one or two of the top signs that you would say that you are hitting burned out, that you're burned out, but what are the signs that you might be on that trajectory?
Well, I think one of the signs that I had noticed, as far as, I joke about flirting with burnout, but it's in pursuit of goals and having so many and trying to accomplish all of those within, it could be a personal timeline on those. It could be a timeline outside of that, but could be withdrawing from doing fun things out with friends, saying no because your cup is already full. You're already at capacity. And so adding on one more thing, even if it's just a fun thing, meet up with somebody for dinner, or, help somebody out. Maybe they're out of town and they need somebody to come over and help out with their dog. And you're like, I can't take on one more thing. I'm already at capacity. And that's a huge one. That's what I notice in myself when I start to kind of hit my limit.
So when we start withdrawing, especially from the good things in life, we're probably on the brink of burnout, or at least on a nice trajectory that way. That's really, really good. And I guess like from a psychological standpoint, why do you think we would do that? Like, so, I mean, it's counterintuitive, right? To think, so we like going out with our friends.
My cup is always full when I hang out with my friends.
Yeah. So why would we allow ourselves to get so busy that we stop doing the things we enjoy? What causes that?
I think the cause could be having so much on your plate that the thought of one more thing that doesn't have to happen, and instead think, well, I could just go home, make myself dinner, relax, read a book, watch a show. That takes very minimal effort versus going out and interacting with somebody, even if it's your closest friend in the world and you can talk about anything. But it's the thought of one more thing on my plate. I can't do one more thing. I need to go and retreat, relax, even though you'll probably wake up just as tired as you were the day before.
Yeah.
Versus hanging out with a friend, talking. You don't even have to be talking about work or what's going on in life that's hard. Just going and relaxing with somebody that you enjoy spending time with.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I actually had another friend that was explaining this concept to me, a very similar concept, that said we should operate at 80% capacity all the time. But the reason was interesting. The reason was, when an opportunity comes, you need to have capacity to be able to capitalize on that opportunity. So even if we're thinking, just take emotional burnout off the table for a minute, but let's just say we want to be maximally effective business owners. If we're at 100% capacity in our business and another opportunity comes that we could be making money, that we could be expanding our business, but we're at capacity, we can't take advantage of that opportunity.
You've already emotionally said no in your head.
You've already said no. So what do you think, Allyson, like of this idea of like rhythms of rest, whether a micro or macro scale?
So I think sometimes we have to romanticize rest. I think as Americans, we're geared towards go, go, go. And I think our European friends do an incredible job, I think, of taking rest and relaxation and enjoy the vacation. And here we overdo it a lot with work.
You're so right.
And I like to make things a little whimsical. And so one of the things that I do is every night around 8:30, I call it turn down service. And I romanticize my nightly routine.
No way.
And turn it into kind of as if I have a butler on staff, and I light my candle. I maybe turn on some relaxing music or maybe even a little silly TV show. And I just start my turn down service. I remove my makeup. I do my skincare routine. I make sure that things are tidied up. And you get into your PJs and get in bed and start reading your book.
That's amazing.
And just completely romanticize going to bed, getting your rest in.
What a good rhythm.
And starting to turn down for the night.
I love that.
Setting yourself up for success for the following.
How would you feel about hiring an actual like butler to do like half of that? I mean, you probably still need to take your own makeup off and a couple of other things, but wouldn't that be great? Like a mint on the pillow.
A little mint on the pillow. Oh, that's going to step up the game.
Oh man, you should just have a little box of mints next to your bed and make that part of your routine. I remember my dad. My dad's so funny. I love my dad. He's super wise and funny guy. But he had like a tin of Altoids in his car, and it was like a treat to him. He would call it his like afternoon treat. He'd get in the car after work and have an Altoid. Such a simple thing. Such a simple thing, but it became like a routine, like in a moment of rest, really. I think like I'm going to drive home, have my Altoid or my mint, whatever it was. And I think sometimes these simple routines can add a lot of peace. And maybe, again, if we're looking at kind of the reverse of it, if your life feels so chaotic that there's no moments of rest, there's no routines of respite, you're probably on the verge of burnout or in burnout. Because life is not designed to be on the go chaos all the time.
We're not meant to be on 24/7.
No.
We are not meant for that. And I think any chance you can get to bring a little whimsy into your life is a smart
I
move.
love that word, whimsy. I've heard the word levity. I've had people in coaching me in my life because I'm a pretty serious person most of the time. And it's not good for you to be serious all the time.
Yeah.
You got to kind of play around a little bit. It's levity, right, is the word. I had to learn something interesting about my wife, though, because my wife likes levity, but she doesn't really care for like goofiness. There's a difference there. And actually, I don't really care for the goofiness or like
Goofy or silly?
silly. Silly, goofy. I don't like it too much. I can get burned out by too much silliness. I like fun. I like
Place and
wit.
time.
My wife and I are very much in the wit zone. Like we like, going back and forth. There's a word, an old time word called foining. It is
Foining.
foining. It means like back and forth wit. Like
Moist and foining.
it's
Finding those patterns there. You keep it.
it's a real word.
Foin.
So yeah, we neither of us are a big fan of the silliness, but my wife especially, she doesn't like silliness. And I think I took that in our marriage early on as like my wife doesn't like playfulness. But that's not true. We do like to be playful together, but we don't like to be silly together. And I've seen other couples do a lot of silliness, and that's fine if that's what you're into. I'm lucky, neither of us particularly are big fans of the silliness. I think I'm probably more silly than her.
Yeah.
But we do like playfulness. We like wit. We like whimsy. So we still like
Have a
having
little
fun.
fun with
Having
it.
fun. Yeah.
Life is taken so seriously these days. There's so much going on, and focus on what's right in front of you. What's in your backyard? What's in your front yard? Yeah. That's what's affecting you today.
So let's change gears a little bit because I think we've talked about the signs that you might be in burnout, and I think we've got a good list going. But what about the person that might be listening that's like in the throes of it and just, I am maybe overly depressed, overly anxious, totally burned out, maybe financial trouble, maybe not. I mean, a lot of times burnout comes from, because quite frankly, if we're
The real world worries.
yeah, just whatever worries. Like, what advice? What advice would you give to the person that? Okay, I thank you for those signs, but those were my rear view mirror like 6 miles ago.
Yeah.
I'm burnt out. What do I do?
So I practiced an exercise that I had been introduced to about a year ago, and it is future state integration.
Oh wow, this sounds complicated.
It's actually very simple. So I was introduced to it through a women's group.
Okay.
And I had no idea what it was going into it. But what they had us do is close our eyes and imagine ourselves 5 years in the future.
Okay.
So you can practice this at any age, no matter where you are. And it was to envision yourself 5 years from now, off in the distance, walking towards you. And you put yourself in your favorite place, your happiest place, what makes you the most comfortable, what makes you the most calm, stable. And you imagine yourself 5 years in the future, and you think, what do I look like? What do I feel like? And all of these things that I saw at the time I was 35. And so I saw my 40-year-old self, a very pivotal decade. And I saw a woman that I was proud of. I saw a woman who was calm, at peace. I didn't see a woman who was, had the inner chaos that I at times feel. And I saw someone that I was like, yes, that's who I want to be. That's who I can be. And it brought such an incredible sense of calm. Like, it will be okay. What I'm feeling right now is temporary. And I find a lot of peace that everything will pass. The good, the bad, but everything will pass. And something new will come out of that. And so as we had spoken about before, the reason I even wanted to talk about burnout was because I had felt myself kind of being pulled towards that recently. And so I had been doing some intentional practices, and I revisited speaking to my future self. And I had ChatGPT create basically a template to follow. I put in, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I would like to get out of it, but also let's take things from, the smartest therapists in the world and plug that in there. What should I be asking my future self? And so one of my favorite things was, you have to sit, feet flat,
Right.
palms out, and be ready to receive. And how we did that, myself and my future self, is you close your eyes and you imagine a door in front of you, and you have to describe the door. For me, my door was turquoise, and it was pretty worn, but it had a really pretty brass knob on it. And you open the door, and there's your future self. And they're either standing or they're sitting, and my future self was sitting. And you get to ask your future self questions. And I had to go kind of in and out where I'd have to revisit and look at the questions that I had, pre-planned out. But to be able to sit there and wait for the answer to come, and to be completely still, to be at peace, to have no outside sounds going on, wear noise canceling headphones if that's useful, but to wait for the answer to come to you. And it was an amazing practice. I spent about an hour kind of in this state and having a conversation with my future self. And it was the most at peace I'd felt in months.
Wow.
To know I have this within me. I can pull this person out at any time I need to. And to be able to sit and know that I already have all the answers. And if I don't have the answers, I know how to get them now. I know that, I can call upon my future self and find an immense amount of peace there. I can call upon a friend and gather advice. But to know that the answers that I need are already within myself. I know what to do. I'm a smart cookie. And when I feel that self-doubt, I can just look inward and go and talk to myself.
I think there's some really...
Maybe I'm crazy.
There's some really powerful principles.
Maybe I'll be in an
there.
asylum soon.
Yeah, right? For episode 2, come back in 5 years.
Yes.
Turns out orange jumpsuit, not exactly what I was thinking, but I think...
I even have a specific outfit
Yeah,
that I was
not
wearing.
orange jumpsuit?
Not
No.
at all.
Okay.
It's still all black, but...
I think you're tapping into some really powerful things there. I mean, so the first thing is that we are so busy and we never slow down to be alone with our thoughts anymore.
It's scary to be alone with our own
It
thoughts.
is.
We wake up and our phone's right there and the notifications are going off, or somebody sent us a funny reel on Instagram and we're going to check it. We've got maybe a podcast going as we're getting ready for our day. We're listening to music on the way to work. And then we get to work and we're talking with people all day.
Yeah.
We get off work, we drive home, we're listening to more things. We're constantly being fed things. And we're doing it to ourselves as well. But we're constantly having external forces in our ear.
Yes. And if
All the time.
I don't think that's normal or natural. I mean, this is a
Don't feel it is.
this is a recent development in human history.
When you go out in nature
Yes.
and you walk,
Which is why that's so healthy.
you're not listening to music.
Which is why that's so healthy.
You could be talking with a friend, but you're hearing the birds chirp. You're hearing the branches break underneath your feet. And you're feeling grounded because you are grounded. You're walking, you're exerting your energy. You might be sweating and barely able to say hello to the person walking past you, but you feel so good when you complete that hike or that trek. And you're like, yes, I've exuded my energy.
Right.
I feel amazing right now. I feel on top of the world. And it's so hard to be with our thoughts because it is quiet until it's so loud. And it is the most powerful time, though, to be able to be with our thoughts, to check in with ourselves, to revisit, to feel uncomfortable. We don't like to feel uncomfortable. I don't think that's a natural state either. Sure. And to be uncomfortable and know it'll still be okay.
Right. Yeah. Unplugging, I would say. And so that would have been the first piece of advice I would give to somebody that was burned out, which is pretty much exactly what you said too. A very specific version of unplugging, which sounds amazing, right? Is burnout is caused by all these extenuous external things bombarding your system to where it's just overloaded. And so the first thing you have to do if you're burned out is unplug. Unplug the phone, unplug the music.
Put the technology away.
Put the technology away.
Put it all away.
And yeah,
Take the smartwatch off.
if you're religious, prayer, spending some that focused time praying, reflecting, meditating. There's a lot of ways we can just unplug and calm down. And you even talked about body posture, right? Like feet on the ground, hands open, like ready to
receive.
Just to reset. Like there's a lot of evidence-based science about just posturing ourselves to be in a position to reset or to receive or to think. And that's really, really good. So then you open your eyes, you're back in reality. What next?
Well, I wrote down all of the answers. And so it's something that I can go back to and revisit because there was a lot to unpack there. And so I think what I would like to be doing, because I found it so useful and so peaceful, is to do more check-ins with myself. And I think it's an intentional practice that we should all be doing more of. Even though it could be scary sometimes. There's things that, we go through as people and we have experiences in life and they can be hard to confront.
Yeah.
And yet those are usually the breakthroughs that need to happen in order to move forward, to move past, to see burnout and be like, oh, I can delegate this thing.
Right.
I can delegate this one thing and it would actually make life easier.
The answer is simpler than I realized.
This other person might be thrilled to take that on or to join, or, maybe I can temporarily shelve this, or I need to revisit my priorities list. And it just gives you a new lens with which to view what your goals are and what could be causing burnout. And because it's usually a whole host of things. It's not just one particular thing that causes burnout.
Yeah.
And getting to the root of, why am I feeling this way?
Are you religious at all?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. We'll just open that can of worms up right on the podcast. After this, I'll ask you your political views.
Sure, I love it. Bring it on. No, I'm not particularly religious, although I do think that there is a higher power, and I think that everything is connected.
Yeah.
I believe that we as people are all connected, that we are connected to this earth, and that there's an incredible energy that is always moving. And, we talk about people with good energy, bad energy, and I think that all of those energies are commingled.
Yeah. I couldn't help but think of the parallels, right? Like from a Christian perspective, and that's, I would consider myself a Christian. Thinking about meditation is a very Christian principle, thinking about God, thinking about what is true about yourself, just meditating on what is truth. Because we believe lies, we're bombarded by lies, lies about even our identity, our self-worth, lies about the world, very pessimistic. And sometimes you just need to recenter. You're saying kind of recenter on self. Christian version would be more, recenter on God, but a very similar type of approach. But I think the big common thread, whether it's religious or not, is unplug. I think that would be the thing that I would tell my audience, and I think we're echoing the same thing here, is unplug, because you're overstimulated
All the time.
And if I could add another thing, and maybe you can pile on, I would say thankfulness, or just general positive thinking, but particularly with gratitude. Another good word is to say, because we get so overwhelmed, we get so negative in our thoughts that we forget to be thankful for whatever we have. Like, I'm thankful I'm not sick. I'm thankful that I live in a country that's safe and my kids aren't being shipped off to war. I'm thankful that we do have food, that, there's just so much to be thankful for, even in the most dire situations that, and again, there's been study after study that this rewires your brain, and it will pull you out of the slump of burnout by just focusing on gratitude, right? So unplugging from the noise, and we got to, if we're going to talk about unplugging, you already said put this technology away, but can we at least talk about how damaging, like, Facebook, Instagram, Reels especially, like we doom scrolling, right?
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling. I mean,
those quiet moments when you're finally in bed and you just need to not think about anything, that's when doom scrolling pulls you in.
Yeah.
And it is so easy to just let that take over and see, oh my gosh, an hour has gone by. What did I just do? Nothing.
So if you're in burnout, unplug.
Practice gratitude.
Practice gratitude. I would say talk to a friend, right? Isn't that a good one? Don't we have good people in our lives, hopefully?
Amazing people.
Amazing.
And if you don't, go find them. Pick up the phone. Start calling.
I think a friend can be as good or better than a therapist in a lot of cases.
My friends have taught me more than anybody I know. They go to therapy. It's the trickle-down effect.
It's a trickle-down effect. Then you get the advice for free. Yep. I like that. Put the savings right in your 401k.
I get my own TED Talks from my friends.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, okay, as we kind of get to the close of this segment, is there anything else like you would think? And let's again bring it specifically to business. If a business owner is starting to feel burnout, feeling burnout, is there any words of advice, kind of parting words of advice you'd want to give?
My dad taught me, write it down. Write down what's going on. Write down your goals. It's not real until it's written down. I find when I'm, overloaded and trying to figure out how am I going to juggle all of this, I'll write down my priorities list and really figure out, am I focusing too much on this one segment and it's eating up so much of my time, but I'm really not getting the payoff I thought I was, or maybe this isn't even my focus right now that it needs to be. Write it down. Reorganize that. Put it into flashcards if you have to, so you can reorganize how you need to. But I find writing it down is the best way to visualize what you're doing instead of just kind of going at things blindly. And I lost my train of thought. Writing down.
I I couldn't agree more with the power of writing things down. In fact, to this day, I write things down when I get overwhelmed, because what happens for me is I get in mental loops. It's like I've got something that's bothering me, and I'll just think about it over and over and over, and I just will loop. I got to do this, then I got to do this, and I'm stressed about this conversation I got to have. And don't forget, Adam, I got to do this. And round and round it goes.
That's the night times.
I can have it during the day, scaries. But when I write it down,
Yeah.
it frees my mind to.
It leaves your mind temporarily.
Yes. It takes it out of my mind and puts it on the paper. And the other thing I realize is like, I'll definitely be like, I'll go into work thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much to do today. There's no way I'm going to get everything done. I need to make a list. And I write down 2 things. And I'm like, well, I guess it's not as much as I thought I had to do.
My to-do list wasn't as scary as
I just need to go do these 2 things and have this hard conversation in my day. And that's my day. Right? And so like there could be so much freedom in writing a list down.
The spirals are a very real thing.
Yes.
I think I'm prone to spiraling. I'm a little neurotic at times, and I like to, as we're talking, I like to stack my goals and accomplish as much as I can in one go. And I've been actively more intentional about what are my goals, what is important, and saying no to more things.
Should this even be on the list?
Should this even be on the list right now?
Yeah.
Is this a next year problem?
Right.
It's
a really good question.
To write down what are my priorities and post it somewhere that you're going to be looking at every single day. And to know, okay, these are my priorities, my professional priorities. I'm not going to get distracted by all these other little things that aren't serving me, they're not serving my business, and write it down. Put it on a vision board. I've tried to get into vision boards. They have not worked for me.
I've never done a vision board, but I love the concept. I'd love to do one.
I love the concept of visualization.
Yes.
I think the visualization is what's most important. Some people, the vision boards are phenomenal, and I've seen them work for people. I love lists. I get weird with my list.
Too analytical. That's the thing is a vision board is for somebody
How about
like
an Excel spreadsheet? We're there.
super creative. And yeah, we're more spreadsheet people maybe. I know I'm a spreadsheet person anyway. So yeah, I've got more spreadsheets than you can imagine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love spreadsheets.
I love the act of handwriting out what those goals are first before ever entering it into a computer system. The memory that I hold with writing something down is much more impactful than if I were to type up my list in a computer.
Very true.
Or in my phone. Although a lot of times an idea will come to me and I need to scroll it down real fast in my phone. I have a whole lot of running lists in there as well. But the most important things are always handwritten.
Yeah.
And posted.
I agree. Well, this has been super helpful and fun. And I love it because this is not the direction I would have taken this conversation on my own. Like, this has been really, really great and really fun. Thanks for coming on, Allyson.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for checking out this podcast. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, subscribe. As you've heard from everybody on the internet, it really helps us out as content creators.
This is another free event on February 19th from 2 to 4. This one will be 2 hours, twice as long, but it'll be way more hands-on. I would encourage you to come with your laptop and your QuickBooks and maybe a spreadsheet if you can. I'm gonna give detailed examples of how you can figure out your own profit margin, and then we'll prepare a break-even analysis.
The majority of small business owners I work with are looking at the complete wrong things when it comes to small business finance. I'd love to see you there.